Okay, so for my first question, we know that you aren't happy about the election, but how do you feel about the riots that have happened in the past couple of hours, and why specifically?
Well, the riots are something that I feel like was sort of to be expected. I mean, with both Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton, they're two of the most hated political figures that we've ever seen in American history. I think no matter what was going to happen, there were going to be people that are angry. I feel like the riots now, it's all about where they're happening. We have a lot of blue states where you have people rioting because they can't stand the idea of Donald Trump being president. Personally, I think it's not right. I feel like there's better ways to go about voicing your concerns for the election than going out and burning stuff and destroying things and knocking things over. I think it should be a civil protest, maybe a sit-in or a stand-in, but destroying things, in my opinion, is not going to get anything done, and it only makes them look worse as a result.
I hear you. So, with that being said, can you see change within our governmental policies now that Trump is in office? And what do you think is going to happen in these cities?
Well, as far as change taking place, absolutely. Whether it's positive change or negative change, I think that depends on your outlook, but we've already heard about how he wants to overturn Roe v. Wade, put gay marriage back to the state level. These things they're being talked about already. We already have legislation being put forward to repeal Obamacare, which in my opinion is a horrible idea because it's going to leave millions of people uninsured. But what you have in the end, you do have change. Now, whether or not it's going to be the change that's going to benefit the country, again, I think it just comes down to preference and, your political stance.
Mm. Now, speaking of political stance, with your political stance, what do you see in the future for your party?
Well, I always identified as a Democrat for most of my life. I recently became an independent because I just could not support Hillary Clinton and all of the scandals surrounding her. So as far as the Democratic Party goes, I think what they need to do in the future is they need to take a cold, hard look at who it is that they're running against and capitalize accordingly whenever something is said. Because part of what, in my opinion, got Hillary Clinton to lose this election is that she did not capitalize on the negative press that Donald Trump was creating every single week. She would let it slide, or she wouldn't capitalize hard enough when she did capitalize. She needs to have a much more forceful and abrasive approach to all of her philosophies and all of her statements for future elections if she decides to run in 2020, and every Democratic candidate is going to need to follow that too.
Okay. So where do you see this country 4 years from now?
I feel like within 4 years, the political landscape is going to be completely changed. This changes everything. We have someone with no political experience, someone who's never held public office, is now president of the United States. A lot of people didn't see this coming. I didn't see this coming. What passes for a politician, what passes for politics, has completely changed. This has been one of the strangest political elections of all time. So I think what's going to happen is you're going to have more people like him, more people that aren't actively involved in politics before this, stepping into the race and saying, you know what, if he can do it, so can I. And I think that's going to lead to some very colorful characters vying for the White House in 2020. That's my take on this whole thing.
All right, well, thank you, sir.